Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Build your army decks, dominate opponents in player versus player action, collect and upgrade cards to fit your strategy, improve their power and unlock unique traits. Choose from all 40k factions, take part in campaigns based on iconic 40k battles, rise to the top of the leaderboard and win glory. Free to download and play. Link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this terrain tutorial. In this video we'll be taking a look at some of the MAD gaming terrain that's come through. This is the HAB block here, this is the standard building. So in this video I'll show you how to construct this. I've been building a fair bit of the terrain now, decided to get the hang of putting it together. It is a bit different to plastic, so I'm going to try and share with you how to put the buildings together, give you some hints and tips as we go along. So, pretty impressed with the terrain. I'll show you what I've been working on here. This is the alternate HAB block. There's loads of different configurations you can go for it. Very customizable. You get the standard building, but there's all these accessories you're able to add on as well. So each one will look different. It'll also cover a very cool aspect about this, and that's magnetizing. So that's magnetized just there. And this endy bit here magnetized also, so that means that you can put your terrain out on the battlefield and then it's gonna hold position pretty good. You know, it's gonna not move around too much on the board. So magnetizing, very cool aspect that you can do with this terrain from MAD Gaming. And the idea is, I've got sort of the starter bundle here, but I'm planning to build up the collection. And the idea is that all of this is stackable and you can build multiple levels. Great for Necromunda, for example. Kill team games, we're able to build some real multi-level terrain by using this stuff. It is different to the plastic terrain, so it's a different style. I reckon I'm planning to build a couple of battlefields that just features this terrain, just to really show off the scale of what you're able to achieve with this terrain from MAD Gaming. Because I've always seen the MDF terrain from different companies. It's always been in the distance, so I always had my eye on it, but never really been able to feature it on the channel. But now we're able to do so. I'll just show you another one. That's the standard HAB block. This is the small one. And again, just magnetizing it up so that all just sticks together like that. And you can just go for all different configurations, but long walkways, short walkways, whatever you want to do. So just give you an idea of what you're able to achieve. And this is just the introduction bundle here. It all starts to upgrade and get bigger in scale and more elaborate in design as well. Then I guess the next stage after this, we'll go on to a painting tutorial as well. I've got an idea. I reckon I want to go for sort of a desert theme with this set here, but I'll work on a colour scheme, one that's pretty effective. I'm starting to go down the route now for terrain of effective but quick results. You don't want to spend ages on terrain. You want nice looking terrain, but you don't want to spend forever working on it. And I think that's sort of the balance that you're looking for. So you can spend a bit more time on your models, but then some quick results, but very effective results when it comes to painting terrain. Alright, so you have your flat pack terrain like this. I've taken the plastic off, but that's the terrain. And then materials that you'll need, I have printed off the instructions. Just got this off of the MAD Gaming terrain website. So you can go on there and they have a section for instructions, giving you all the instructions just there. You can download them. You look them up on your phone if you're going to follow along that way. I printed mine out. The HAB block system, all the buildings, small, alternate design, standard design, they all follow the same principle, and then you just add on the different accessories that come in the pack as well. So you can add in ladders, different style doors and so on. You can do that as you go along. But the basic structure is the same, so that same instruction set will do all of the different HAB block designs. That's that. Then It says here that you can magnetize here, easily magnetized. So I have some magnets. They recommend 3x3 magnets. Mine are 3x2, that's all I've got in my supply at the moment, but 3x2 will be fine. So best place to get those would be somewhere like eBay. I usually get mine from eBay. So look up disc magnets and then type in the size. The strength's not really, you can go for stronger if you want, but the standard strength that you get should be no problem at all. It's just generally just to hold in the different terrain pieces, and these 3x2 seem to be working just fine. For magnetizing, they actually provide you with the holes pre-drilled. So there's two, you can just see them glinting there on camera, but there's two just there, two here. Here, you don't have to magnetize, but you just knock the pre-cut piece of wood out, MDF out, and then insert your magnets and glue them in. So I was thinking this was going to take ages to magnetize. I was thinking I'm going to have to drill out holes, try and figure out where the magnets go, but that's all been done for you, so it's going to save loads of time. It actually was very quick to magnetize the whole thing. So there's 4 magnets there, so 16 magnets for one building. If you're going to do a big set of terrain with all the walkways and so on, you're going to need a good few hundred magnets. It sounds a lot, but magnets are pretty cheap now if you go to somewhere like eBay, or your different gaming stores will do them, but eBay is the usual place that I go. And you know, for different countries, UK, USA, Australia, seem to have some pretty good rates for magnets, so it shouldn't be a problem to get a hold of those. And I think it's well worth doing, just to be able to magnetize stuff up. I think it's very cool, especially when you come to the higher levels and you start stacking up things you want to hold in place. Without magnets, it would fall apart quite quickly. So I think magnetizing is a good idea, and you want to do it, you want to make up your mind whether you're going to go for it or not. It might be more awkward to add it in later on once the whole thing's been painted up and the building's glued together. So I would recommend that you magnetize. I think it's a better job, and you'll be glad you've done it, and it'll pay off later on. And it actually doesn't take too long. It's one of the quicker things to get done with this terrain. So magnets, then an old brush for applying the glue, PVA glue, if you need to maneuver the glue in and get it into position. Then a modelling knife, shouldn't need that too much. Then I've got a pair of pliers here, not too sharp, but these are useful for just pushing the terrain through without using the knife, without causing breakages. You'll see it a bit later on, be able to push the pieces out of the sprue, and I think it's a better job. Then your glue, PVA glue. There's different types of wood glue out there. I would try and get hold of PVA glue if you can, polyvinyl acetate. It's a bit more flex, it's better for sticking wood together. Other wood glues, they can be quite brittle and shatter and break away quite easily. So try and make sure it's PVA glue that you get a hold of. Seems to be the best job. Most of the glue I'm going to use will be PVA glue, but I'm going to go for, they recommend PVA glue or wood glue, but I'm going to go for a combo here. I'm going to use PVA glue mostly, but I'm also going to use super glue as well. You put this terrain together and it all slots in pretty good, but sometimes when, as I've been constructing it, sometimes you'll be putting pressure on somewhere, another piece will fall off, or it won't quite slot in exactly and it'll fall away. You've got to push it back in again, and then you've got to, as the building gets more and more complex, as more and more bits are added on, you can find just that it becomes quite fiddly. So I reckon what I'm going to do is use PVA glue on most of it, and then just tack in a bit of super glue just to finish each section, to keep it nice and solid, and then able to move on. Just want to assemble this similar to a plastic kit where you assemble each part, it dries pretty quick, and you're able just to keep going until the terrain's finished. So the glue that I've got here, it's called Mitofar. I shouldn't have to get this brand, but I found this on eBay. The picture on here is of a wooden picture frame, so this is the right stuff to use for super glue. If you glue the entire thing in super glue, it's going to cost you a lot more, and it's not really needed. PVA is a brilliant glue. It just takes time to dry, it's the only problem. So you can aid that by using a bit of super glue. So there's the glue there, a good supply, it's a good amount, 50 grams is the amount, and then on eBay the two came together. So the activator came with the glue, and I would highly recommend you get activator so you're able to glue something together instead of waiting for the super glue to dry. You just a bit of activator and you're able to put that down, move on to the next bit, keep things moving just to speed up the process and make yourself more efficient at putting this terrain together. So you'll see it as we go along. We're just going to tack in bits of super glue at key points on the model, and then just keep the structure tight, and then able to move on to the next stage quick enough. So that's the materials. That's all the materials that I can think of. So the next stage is to take this terrain and start breaking it out of its, I'm calling it a sprue, I suppose it's a sprue or a frame that you push it out of here. I would say these aren't, none of these pieces are numbered here. It's not like a plastic kit. So I've been doing it where I push out all the pieces and just put them into their relevant piles, just organise the whole thing, push the entire lot out, and then just build from there, and just putting the shapes together. So I've got these pliers here. They're useful just for going to the corners and pushing the terrain out, because you don't want to cause, you don't want any breakages. And they're a bit safer than a knife. Got a knife pushing in, you can slip with it, or you can go through to the other side, but these are blunt enough. So I'm just working this out here. That's it. These are the larger pieces. So smaller bits, just push them out. If a piece breaks, it's no big deal, it's just wood, you can just glue it back together again. It's quite repairable. But this is a different medium to plastic. Those bits come out. I'm just going to start arranging them around in order. Be careful with these large panels here, you don't accidentally push out windows. You've got an option, you can keep these windows in place and build something over the top, or you can push them through. But at this stage, we're not sure how you're going to build this. Just trying to avoid pushing any of those bits out. So that's the larger panels. This is a roof or a base section just here. And again, anywhere where you see it's been cut, any of these pieces can come out if you push them. You can see them coming through onto the other side just there. So you'll be careful that these bits don't fall out at this stage. If they do, it's no big deal. You know, these buildings are all looking to design each one different anyway. So here's a fiddly bit where I don't want this to break, so I'm just going to use that to push it out. And here as well. So that's it, that's that. Throw that away. Move on to the next one. These bits all come out. And again, this is particularly handy for the smaller pieces. So maybe zoom in so you can see. So I'm just going to put pressure on here. Push it through. You don't want breakages, you want this to come out as efficiently as possible. It's great to be working with wood. It's been a while since school really, so it's been enjoyable using this stuff. So just pushing that through. That's it. So that's all coming out. I'm just going to go over the entire kit. I'm going to pull all these bits out, put them in their piles, and then we'll be ready to start constructing. So just one thing as you're pushing the pieces out, I'm definitely going to magnetize mine. So I'm going to knock through those little circular holes around the main frames. There's one there. Just do it at this stage, knock those through just there as well, just to get that done and out of the way. And again, easy with a pair of these, nice and quick. Alright, so bits are all laid out, looks something like this. I wouldn't be too put off by all of these pieces. A lot of this is accessories, so there's a lot of it not going to use. It just means you can go for multiple combinations when you form a HAB block however you want. There's ladders and different things to add on, so a lot of these smaller pieces here we won't end up using. It means each of the HAB blocks will be different. So I'm just going to follow along step by step here. So the first bit is the base and roof. Just give you a little bit of a flavour of putting these together. So pieces required here, 2 ends. So for the HAB block you get, I'll show you here, you get a base like this, then the middle bit, and then the top bit here. So that's what we're going to construct the main structure of the building first of all. So 2 ends, 2 sides, like so. And then the little bits for putting them together, it's these corner bits here. Now what I've done to make sure you get it right, they're numbered here. There's 2 little squares. This little piece needs to come out. There's 2 little squares. So that will need to match up with one of these that has 2 little squares, like so. And then we're going to join it. So we push out this square. And then that will go in there. Like so, and the number on there is number 3, so that will then tie in with this number 3 just here. So again, only popping these out when you need to, because they'll remain solid. You better paint over the ones you don't push out. But I'm going to push that one through, and then that goes in to that, and that all links in to form that corner. So you can see that it needs to be glued. PVA glue is alright, but there's the danger of that falling apart as I'm moving on to another stage. So I'm going to PVA glue that and then use the super glue as well. So I'll just get the activator ready. And the super glue, I'm going to put a bit of PVA onto an old disc here. And then I'm going to go PVA glue in here. There where it joins along. And push that in. It's going to take a few hours to dry. Once that's dry, that'll be a solid join. And then PVA glue along here, around this bit, and then it's going to tuck in there. So I'm going to add PVA glue onto the join just there, and it's going to be here as well. It's a case of just slotting it in. Like so. Alright, so that glue's there, but that will fall apart if I'm not careful. I can feel it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this in. Now you've got to be careful with super glue, because I don't want to start filling in areas, because there's another piece that's going to slot into this. I don't want to disrupt that. So you'll soon get an idea as you start to put these together, but I'm going to tack just the very tip here, the very ends. So bit of super glue there, bit of activator, bit of super glue here. It just means I get a bit of immediate strength whilst the rest of the glue's drying. And that will just tack and hold that in place for me. There, okay. So that's solid enough now. That's not going to fall apart. And then that's only going to get stronger. As that glue dries off, it's going to get stronger and stronger. And then you have a nice solid build. So I'm going to carry on here and finish the rest of this first frame. Yeah, I've just zoomed in here just to give you an idea, because I don't want you to... I'm trying to leave this bit here as... I don't want that disrupted by super glue, because there's a frame going to sit on top of that. And then I don't want to disrupt underneath either, because sometimes you can stack the buildings on top of each other. So I've just tacked on the super glue on the edges here. That shouldn't interfere with anything, holding those two bits in place. So just a little tip there whilst you glue the thing together. Alright, so structures like that, and it's got a solid feel to it, even though most of the glue's still wet. That super glue is just helping to hold it in place. It means I can handle that and push on with the rest of the construction. So just leave that to the side. Then next is the four walls, the next section to do. So 2 long parts and then 2 ends. I'm going to go ahead and construct this and then start thinking about what to do with the doors, you know, windows and doors. Some panels you can just leave plain and you can put a load of accessories over the top to make it like a solid wall. Others you can push the windows out, you can keep them in, you can push the middle bit out, the frame out, you can keep the frame. Same with the doors, you can push the whole door out, push just the window and the door out. So it's all up to you, it's all been cut through, so you can change things around as much as you want. Maybe do an example of a door in just a moment, but I'm going to stick it all together first here. And then make a decision about which I'm going to have as open and which is going to be closed off and so on. So again, quite straightforward. It's going to be fiddly if you just use PVA, but a bit of super glue we can tack this and get it pretty solid. So it's just a case that just links into there like so. So paintbrush, going to put in some PVA here, along here, and there. Slot that in, just wiping away the excess. That's tapped in there pretty good. holding it as square as possible. I'm going to tack in a bit of super glue here. I'm going to go for 2 blobs. Making sure it makes contact with, I pushed it right into the corner, making sure it makes contact with both sides. And then just holding that in. You can even hold it down like so, nice and square. That will just tack in place once that super glue goes off, like so. And that's going to break if I pull it around, but it's tacked in just enough that I'm able to carry on with the next piece. So I'll maybe do the other end just here. So again, same pattern, just following the glue along, same as the other side. Then here, and here. Sometimes the other option with glue, you can hold it all together, use elastic bands and sellotape and so on, then come back to it the next day. But I really like being able just to crack out a whole building and get it done in one go. So we'll add this end on. Again, drop in some super glue. 1, 2 blobs, and then try to keep it as square as possible. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Just put the activator in there. This will get a lot stronger once all 4 bits are together. That's going off okay. And the last bit, tricky bit, but it'll be a lot stronger once it's done, is the PVA glue. So it's here. And the other end. And then the glue's going to run along the top here actually. Not that bit. There, there, and there. And just do the other end. Like so. And then just lower this down on top. That's in position. And a little bit of flex there, even with it being super glued. And that just locks in like so. That's looking pretty good. I'm just going to roll it over. And then going to drop in a bit of super glue here just to finish this off. Because again, I want this to be nice and solid so I can move on to the next stage straight away. So a couple of blobs. Set it as square as possible. And a bit of activator to finish it off. There you are. That's that frame. And again, I'll leave that to the side. We'll move on to the next stage, but happy enough with how that's come out. So I think with this, still that glue's, it's only tacked in with super glue there. I want to work on this a little bit. I want to make it a little bit stronger, so I'm going to add on the one of the roofs here, or roof or base. So they're both the same. Either one will do. Flip this over. I want it to dry square as well, so that's going to go on top something like this, and again it'll all link in. I'm just seeing which side to put the glue on. So the glue's going to need to go on the inside of each of these, and the ones that I've finished with the yesterday and the day before, they've dried solid as a rock once that PVA dries, like so. And then running PVA glue. Again, see, it's quick with the paintbrush if you're just using the end of the nozzle, you're waiting for the glue to come down, but with the paintbrush it's quick application here. Just run this along, and then along here on that corner, like so. I'll lower this in. It's gone in. This is the fiddly bit. But I'll leave the camera rolling here just to show you. It takes a little bit of patience here, but it's gone in, just wiping away the excess glue. So I know that's now set nice and square. There's loads of glue, and I could almost not even bother, because I can feel it in there nice and strong. I'm not even going to bother with super glue now. I don't need to. There's no point. That glue's going to go nice and strong. Yeah, maybe I will, because I don't want the bottom falling out here at any stage. And I'm only using a small bit of super glue, so I'm just going to add in a few blobs. It just gives you a bit more confidence to move on to the later stages, knowing that it's still pretty solid. Yeah, just again tacked in super glue at different points around there, and that's nice and solid, even though most of the glue's still drying. So now we're going to figure out what we're going to do with doors. I'll show you maybe one example of what to do. So let's say we'll work on this side. I think on this side I'm going to have it quite open. On this side I'm going to leave that completely filled in, and I'm going to put some rib effects and so on completely over the top. So solid wall here, then we'll knock this one through. I'm going to go for knocking the windows through. You could leave them solid, but I'm going to knock these windows through. So just pushing them through like so. But it means that every HAB block you make is going to be different. So those bits are out. I'm going to push this entire door through. So I'm going to do a bit of work on it and then put it back. So I'm going to take that door out here. Now, I don't want these window frames ever falling out. You know, a year's time playing a game, one of the window frames falls out. It's annoying. So what you can do, if you're worried about any pieces moving, you can just, on the inside, just fill in the gap with a bit of PVA glue. That will fill in a hole there, and it means those frames will never move. They'll be glued in permanently. Done. That'll dry and those frames won't pop out. So with the door, I'm going to, we'll go for an open window on this one. Why not? So we'll push that through. Then there's some accessories that you can add. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to knock this piece out here. And I'm going to knock out these two. One and two. So as it says in the packaging, there's no real cutting to do. Everything's done for you. So looks something like that. I'm going to go to my bits box, or my bits. They're all laid out. This piece here can go underneath there, like so. I would say maybe if you get a bundle set from Mad Gaming and try and do the whole set in one go, because the more you construct this, the quicker and more efficient you'll be. You build one HAB block, you'll build the second one a lot quicker. So it's a good idea to try and do the whole lot in one go. But that goes there, like that. And then there is a piece that can go all the way across here. That bit there. I'm going to tack that in. I'm not using super glue here because these pieces are just holding position. I'm just going to run that along there, and a bit of glue here. And just push that in. That should just slot into there. Great. Then I don't want the window frame falling out at any point. So I'm just going to tack that in, or back it in with a little bit of PVA glue. That door's finished. I then want to put the door back into position here. So I'm going to run some PVA glue around the inside of the frame, like so, and in there, and then just push this back in. I suppose you can leave the door half open, or you can leave the door out entirely. You go for any combination that you want. That's just sitting there nice. That'll dry It'll be nice and solid. May run a bit more glue just in the gaps now, just behind. That's not going to move. So then the other thing to consider, this is going to slot inside the base here, and it's going to be lowered in like so. So what you need to do is choose which of these you're going to remove. So I reckon if we're going to go here on this side, I'm going to take out this piece here, this piece, and because there's a doorway, I'm going to take that bit out as well. So when that lowers down, that creates your gap there for the door. Now if this was the roof piece, you could leave those bits on, just have it square on top, so you see the diversity you can go for with it, how adaptable it is. But so you just gradually work your way along. So for example, on the opposite side to this, around here, I might leave all of these pieces in place, or I could take out the top two, because I'm not going to have any doors or windows here. It's going to be covered with other accessories to make a solid wall. So just work your way around, making decisions about what combination you're going to go for. I'm going to press on here and show you the results once I finish this next stage. Alright, so I've pushed ahead here and have got it to this stage. So I've built the roof here, and then there's the base, and there's the middle bit. So just to show you what's been going on here. That's how that looks, but there's loads of different combinations you can go for. I've gone for some like window seals here, one above the door, so that's a sealed door, a closed door there. And around this side, sort of copied the same kind of idea. That one. Then I've gone for solid ribs down this side, so a flat wall with no entrance point. And then here, I've taken one of these accessories here that you stick in, and then I've been able to push out the ribbon, just to create a different effect, just there, and nice and solid now. So what I've done, you've got the base, and I'm not going to glue this, I'm actually going to leave it, just make sure it goes in there, and then I've built the top, and one little bit I need to do, actually these hatches are finished, I'm just going to use a bit of PVA glue now just to seal them in from underneath, because I don't want the hatches dropping out at a later stage, because I'm happy with how they've turned out, so we'll just put a bit of PVA glue in there. Built it the same way as before. I've glued the ceiling on and then just put these little bits on here just to represent the hatches, like so. And then that's going to go on top. And again, I'm not going to glue it. So it looks solid enough, but if I need to take it apart, I can. The reason being is you can start doing really cool stuff. Here's another one I built earlier on. And again, totally different combination. Doorways looking something like, I've left an open doorway here, ribbed effect just there, different type of ribbed effect there, and again, completely different. But if I have that as a base, this one's solid, this is one of the ones I've made solid. It doesn't really matter, I'm going to leave some of them solid, some of them that you can break down. So what I can do is I can take the one I've just built, remove the roof if I need to, and then double stack, because they're designed to double stack, and I can do something like that. Yeah, there's a doorway here, but I can build up ladders and walkways to meet that, so that's not going to present a problem. But look at the kind of effects that you can get. Double stack buildings, ribs down two sides. It's just starting to look very good. And this is the whole point of this HAB block set, is you're able to start stacking stuff up, building multiple levels, and having fun as you build your terrain ready for a game. So I'm going to take that off. Then this comes out if I need it to. If there's another piece of terrain with the roof, then that can slot inside there, like so, no problem. Also, during the game, we don't usually in our games of 40k, but it might, whatever game system you're playing, you might want to put models inside, and so therefore the roof comes off, you can put your models inside and then put the roof back on top again. And you know, the MDF is solid enough, it's not going to damage your terrain anyway, it's a solid build, so that will sit on there just nicely, it's no problem at all. But I'm going to leave it as nice and open, so I'm able to go for all sorts of different combinations. I could do a building without a base if I want to, all sorts of options. And even what I have seen done actually is in some of the terrain setups is just having a base like this with walkways going straight into it. sort of just slightly raised up off the ground. And you can go for things like, I'm starting to imagine what can be done now, stuff like this. A building and then a patio walkway type area, and then start converging all of your walkways onto this central point. So yeah, loads of options that way. So walkways can join onto it like that, something like that. So just leaving it flexible for those options. The last bit I want to show you is magnetization, and hopefully you'll see that it's easy. Shouldn't take too long. So building's built up. I'm going to magnetize the whole thing, whether there's walkway, I intend to have walkways or entrance points there or not. And then it will fill these holes up, and I want those holes filled up just for painting anyway. So I'm going to magnetize the whole thing and just get it done right from the start. So I've got some magnets just here. I want to make sure I get the magnets the right way round. So otherwise you don't want them to be conflicting with each other. So what I'm going to do is take in the previous building that is magnetized, and I'm just going to stick the magnets there so I know which way to go. Then I'm going to take super glue, drop a bit into these holes, and again, super glue's way better than PVA glue for putting magnets in. And then now I know which way the magnets are facing, I simply take them, make sure I keep it facing the right direction, slot the magnet in, and then slide away. And then it's just tucked in there. And then just wipe away the excess glue. And again, just make sure I got this right. Drop it in. It's easy just to hold the stack of magnets and then just move away, and it leaves the magnet in there. Just push it in my finger, and that's in. And then you can activate it with a bit of super glue, like so, and that's in. You see how quick that was? But you don't want you can get the magnets out if you make a mistake, but you want to try and get it right first time. So dropping it in, dropping it in, push the magnets in, bit of activator, and that's that done. Magnets in position, and it should be all facing the right direction, so everything else that I've pre-magnetized clicks in. Yeah, it does. Okay. You've got to make sure it's around the right way, like so. So just going to follow that same principle, work my way through the terrain, keeping them facing the right direction so they'll link up, no problem. But I'll just magnetize the whole thing, and that's pretty much this standard HAB block finished. Alright, so that's done. I've magnetized the base here. There's no magnets actually on the main part of the building itself. It's either the base or the roof part. So I'm just going to assemble that back together again. And the roof just goes back on, and that means that when it comes to these bits, they should all just slot in, held in by magnets there, like so. And you can go for all sorts of combinations with that. And here, a solid wall, but it may want to make it may be a dead end, for example. It doesn't matter. So I've magnetized it anyway. And as I said earlier on, later on I'll start be able to build up levels. Then this is ready magnetized, and that will hold in position, built up by other, staircases running all the way down and so on. And then units can run around on the upper levels. That's one of the great things about this terrain, is to be able to build multiple leveled games. As I said at the start, perfect for games of Necromunda and for Kill Team. This terrain very suitable for those kind of games, but also for 40k. Looking forward to be able to, always like even regular 40k, being able to play on multiple levels, especially for infantry and so on. Look forward to that very much as well. Alright, so that's the terrain finished. I've done an arrangement here, but there's hundreds of different combinations you can go for. I've taken the roof off, used that as an area there, linked a load of walkways in, magnetised, all joined up. But it's a good terrain series to gradually build up. Get an intro bundle, and then you can gradually start building up your collection and making more of a diverse arrangement, and pretty much a different terrain setup for every game. But there it is. It's taken me I'd say about an hour. And that's after building a few of those buildings, give you sort of an idea of the time frame. And as I said, if you're building one after the next, you're going to get quicker and quicker as you go along. But there it is, that's the tutorial. The next stage then, I'm going to start experimenting, doing some colour schemes for painting, and then I'll hope to make a tutorial on that, so keep a lookout for the tutorial for painting these up. And again, I want it to be quite an effective, quick tutorial, able to get this terrain out onto the battlefield and hopefully start using it in some of our games of Warhammer 40,000. That's the tutorial. Hope it's been helpful. Check out Mad Gaming Terrain. There is a discount code here. I've managed to get a code from them, so it's 10% off all of your orders. So the code will be in the video description below. That just means that you can get this stuff. It's already a pretty good price, but it means you can get it at a better rate with 10% off available on their website. But there it is. That's the tutorial. Keep a lookout for more tutorials on the channel. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.